So after I was accepted, like a month later, I got a pamphlet in the mail, and I just thought it looked like really interesting. So I was excited, and then I didn't even know that much about it, and I didn't really speak to a representative or anything. I just applied and got in, and still didn't really know what to expect, and then got here and was absolutely amazed by what I had gotten myself into.
I mean, a lot of the schools that I applied to were smaller private schools because I went to a small private school in Columbus. So at first I thought I wanted a really small atmosphere, so the schools that I applied to didn't have the living learning communities. Like the big ones that I did were OSU, obviously, and Georgia Tech, and I didn't know about, any communities in there. So actually the fact that there were living learning communities was a huge part of why I chose Michigan, particularly for the fact that it is out of state and it is Michigan, being an Ohio resident. So that actually it might have actually been the determining factor for me. So,
since I was going to be an out-of-state student, I knew it was going to be kind of harder for me to make friends, and so I figured if I was in a learning community with everyone having kind of a common goal in mind, it'd be easier for me to make friends. Also, being around like-minded people who were all involved in the sciences was important to me, as far as not only having friends who were involved in the same or going towards one of the same goals as me, but also just having that support. And so since as an engineer there aren't very many women engineers, it was kind of important to me to have that support.
WISE-RP was very crucial in me getting used to college. I think it took me, as it does a lot of people, a long time to sort of, get used to everything. The classes were very difficult. That was like the first thing that jumped out at me. And I thought that I could handle it because, everyone could handle it in high school. But college is like a different game. And being in WISE where everyone, a lot, either they had been through those classes, been through similar classes, and they're going through other freshmen are going through those classes. That was great to have that kind of support system, especially a lot with the study groups that are offered. Those were very helpful. And also being around people who are in the same boat as you. I was feeling homesick, and I'm not even that far away. I wasn't even that far away from home, but I was still feeling homesick and not really sure if this was something that was right for me. But when I found out that a lot of other girls were going through that and they were living right next to me, we would kind of form those groups together on a Friday night saying, I don't really know what to do. Let's play board games. And that turned into getting to know them, and now it's so comfortable going up and down the hall. You can find anyone and say, hey, you want to do something? Oh, yeah, I'm not doing anything. The support system is really great.
Like I said, being out of state and not having gone to high school with a lot of the people that came here, it was kind of harder for me to make friends. I wasn't very happy at first. But being in WISE and seeing the same people in my chemistry classes and my intro engineering classes, and then seeing the same people when I got back to my dorm and was in my room and things like that in the dining hall, it was kind of a consistency that I needed. And so that helped me to develop new friendships and to kind of come out of my shell and not be as introverted as I know that I was for the first couple weeks. So WISE helped me in that regard in providing kind of a constant in my transition when everything else was changing.
I think it's so much more community-based, obviously, that we do a lot of things together. A lot of the people that I talk to, they have to, find a club to find a group of friends, and a lot of them haven't gotten along with their roommates just because they have different interests. They're in so many different fields that they find it difficult to really connect with the people around them, so they have to find friends elsewhere, and that's really difficult, when you're trying to hang out in the middle of the night or you have a question, like calling somebody and having to walk to their dorm. So I've noticed that, yeah, because it's a huge school, it's nice to kind of have the smaller environment.
It helped a lot. I met a lot of people that were interested in the same thing as me. With the study groups and stuff like that, I met girls in the same classes. I actually made a lot of friends. One of my best friends I roomed with last year when I was a returner, and just everything, the opportunities, like I was exposed to so much more, and I was able to find out about all the other different resources on campus through WISE, because they were really wanting to help us adjust to college life, and so it was really great. And the mentorship, my mentor was great. My RA was really great in trying to get everybody to adjust. So it was just really, I felt like I belonged someplace within like such a big community. I had a class in Chem 1800 with like 500 students, and then like it was nice to have WISE to come back to and like know people.
And some of the other programs that I've been able to get involved in, like the class. So the Women in Science and Engineering class as a freshman, while sometimes people were like, oh, we have to go to it, but at the same time, looking back, I think it was a really great program to kind of open my eyes to a lot of the different professions that I didn't necessarily know about coming into the university. We had kinesiology, a guy from kinesiology come in, and I didn't realize how broad that field was. I was thinking movement science, okay, yeah, muscles, whatever. But he just had so much to talk about, and he had such an interesting life story. So just really not only learning about those professions through that class, but also being able to get a life story from somebody, really feel connected to, hey, this is something that actually goes on, and this is somebody's actual life. So I thought that was really important.
It was really great to get to like hear some of the professors who came to speak, and they were so excited about their fields and things like that. So that was really exciting to sort of see that as possibly a part of my future. And also just being able to talk to like people who had been through my classes and been through the same things I had, and they could really guide me and help me get on the right track and everything. So
definitely think it's very important. I know a lot of the times we'll talk about in the WISE class last year how do we really need it so much anymore because the women are becoming so prevalent in these fields. But I think it's actually really interesting. I was talking about it in my staff class for becoming a resident advisor next year, and we were talking about how the groups will form no matter whether you put a label on them or not, but being able to have the resources along with the group I think is really important. So yes, while women engineers and women scientists may be able to kind of meet up with each other at other points through their classes, I think having that community and having that label and those resources that come together with that community, I think is very important to be able to support the women in those fields, as well as to continue to let those fields grow with women.
Yeah, I definitely do. I mean, even though the numbers like are rising in science classes, in my Chem 260 class, there's very few girls still in that class. And so it is still, the numbers are increasing, but they're still low, I feel. I think anybody like that would join WISE could benefit. I feel like it's a great program, and I think it still definitely is needed to help introduce girls to these things. Like I learned a lot of different things about different sciences that I didn't know about, and going into, like my class now is a junior, and there were 3 girls in a discussion of like 25 people, and so it was just like, wow, and so I definitely feel still like, I think that WISE and these types of programs are still needed today.
And not only, one aspect I think would be, engineering especially, sciences are getting better, but still, math and science are kind of unequal, but engineering really, there's not that as many girls. The proportion is really not that great. So to go to class and have like, 2 or 3 girls in your lab section, and you come back and all the girls on your hall are working on that, all the girls are in engineering, all the girls are doing that, and they're women, and there's something to be said about that. There's like a deeper connection that I feel that we're able to make, and it also, something that I really like is being on a floor of girls. No one has to like try to impress anyone. Like everyone's so much more relaxed because it's only girls. Like there's no one to impress on our hall, so it's a more relaxed kind of atmosphere where people can just be who they are, and I really value that.